A man who served time in the same cell as Jeffrey Epstein says there's just no way he was able to kill himself. It would be almost impossible, he says. Here are the details. This is in from Mediaite.com. Man who served time in the same cell as Jeffrey Epstein says there is just no way. A former inmate who was held in the same prison cell as the late sex offender Jeffrey Epstein told News Nation on Monday that there was just no way Epstein could have committed suicide in the cell. We'll play you the clip of this now.
Okay, I'm joined now by someone, and this is interesting, with intimate knowledge of the very jail cell Epstein died in. Michael Franzese, he was a capo for the Colombo crime family in the 1980s. He served time in the exact cell where Epstein was later held. Michael, welcome back to the program. Tell us about that cell, and what do you make of these revelations that there is a minute missing from the surveillance video, Michael?
Well, listen, I spent 7 months on that tier and in those cells. And the first thing I have to say, there's no way you are able to commit suicide. There's just no way. There's no way to hang yourself. There's nothing from the ceiling. There's nothing from the bed. You'd have to be a midget and work really hard to try to hang yourself. And I don't think you can accomplish it at that point. As far as the cameras being off, I haven't experienced that. I did 8 years in prison. And I haven't experienced cameras being broken in the perfect storm of correctional officers not walking those cells. They walk in and they look in on you all the time. As a matter of fact, sometimes it's embarrassing to go to the toilet because they're walking past you and looking in the cell constantly. So I've said this from day one. I do not believe it was suicide. I can't talk about what happened to him, but I don't believe it was a suicide because you just couldn't physically do it. It would be almost impossible to do it.
The former crime family mobster then went on to say that he's been looking into the case and there's absolutely no way that Epstein operated alone. Take a listen.
Look, there's no way that this person operated alone. Look, they have the videos. Alan Dershowitz recently said that he saw the client list. But because there's people that he can't, because he's an attorney, he can't, reveal what he saw. But he said he saw the client list. He's demanding that it be released. To think that there's no flight logs, that there's no client list, that the thousands of recordings that they had, because I found out for sure that he had cameras on every bedroom, recording everything. And all of a sudden, all of it is gone. I mean, none of this makes sense. And look, the only reason it's important, it's not that anybody's trying to say, come on, this guy was a creep. And there was young women involved in this, young girls that were trafficked and abused. I have 5 daughters and I have granddaughters, and I just don't like it. And anybody that's involved in this should be held accountable.
He also went on to explain why he feels so passionately about this, especially after interviewing someone that was involved in rescuing children that were being abused in this manner. Take a listen to what he has to say here.
I recently interviewed Paul Hutchinson, who was, a major figure in the Sound of Freedom. He was one of the ones that went to rescue, I think, 51 or 52 of these young girls and young boys that were being exploited and trafficked. I mean, this has got to stop. And if these people are not held accountable, it's just going to continue. And unfortunately, it seems like it's people with power and money. It seems that, from what my investigation, that this Les Wexner was the first one that Epstein was able to bribe. And, there's a lot of stuff here that needs to come out, and it's really shameful if it doesn't.
Finally, the host asks him one more time to explain why it's not possible that Epstein could have killed himself in the cell. Take a listen to this.
Yeah, I want to go back to the jail cell because you lived in that jail cell. And just real quick, again, tell me, would you have the privacy in that jail cell to take your own life?
Not only would you not have the privacy, I don't understand how you would be able to do it. You have to hang yourself from something. There's nothing on the ceiling that you can hang a bed sheet on. The bed is not that high. I mean, you have to try to lay down on the floor in some way because Jeffrey Epstein was a fairly big guy. You'd have to be a midget to even try to hang yourself. So it's not a question of not only are there cameras on are the CEOs walking the tier constantly, especially from what I understand, Jeffrey Epstein was on suicide watch for a while. They watch you very, very closely. Trust me on that. So I just can't buy it. I cannot buy it. I'm sorry. And I have no horse in this race other than my experience and the fact that I just couldn't see it happening.
Well, overnight, we got news that the House Republicans blocked a vote that would have led to the release of the Epstein files. Marjorie Taylor Greene has offered some commentary around this. She says the same Republicans in the Rules Committee who blocked the release of the Epstein files last night also blocked my amendment to transfer munitions to Ukraine, a non-NATO member nation. MAGA delivered the majority to Republicans and voted for no more US involvement in foreign wars. But now the neocons and establishment Republicans have hijacked MAGA. As a reminder, in September of 2023, I forced the separate vote on the $300 million in the DoD props for Ukraine. Here's the vote record results. She's got the vote record there. Funding war and foreign countries is not what we voted for, and America funds NATO. So if NATO is buying American weapons, we are still paying for it. With MAGA clearly divided over this topic at the moment, with some high-profile conservative speakers saying publicly that they will not be discussing this any further. I've said enough, that's it for now. Many others are still voicing their concerns quite loudly. Obviously, as we reported, some of the biggest names, such as Tucker Carlson and the likes, continuing to raise the topic and demand justice. Most are saying, and rightfully so, there is a line, and that line is protecting kids and prosecuting those who hurt kids to the full extent of the law.